Warm up and stretch. Are we live? Are we waking up? Beautiful. Beauteous. We love to see it. I'm gonna shrinky dink this down. The tiniest little smidge. All right, folks, welcome or welcome back to another Dadvocate live stream. If you are not watching this live and you already know the spiel, feel free to just double tap that go ahead 30 seconds feature until we get to the topic, the theme of the stream. If you are watching this live, sorry, you gotta listen to it, but I just gotta give a little bit of housekeeping, okay? My usual spiel. If live streams are not really your thing, but you still want the content, check back later. I usually have my editor chop these segments up into more digestible, edited down 15 to 25-minute bits later. So if these are not your thing, feel free to skedaddle. A hiccup attacked me in the middle of that one. But if you like live streams and you like live chat, if you want to be seen right here on the stream, you can. It's a super fun time. That being said, if you don't want to just stare at your screen, don't worry. We try to keep this an audio-only friendly stream that you can enjoy much like a podcast. So if you're out walking your dogs, lifting weights at the gym, or just driving on a long commute, you should be able to enjoy this because while we do react to visual cues, I will do my best to verbally describe everything that's going on. Like I said, it's a live stream. Take advantage of the chat boxes. If you really need to get my attention, one of the best ways to do that is their YouTube super chats, just because they do a really great job of itemizing them. So even if I don't read it right away in the moment, I'm pretty good about going back and making sure I cover all of them. With all of that being said, I think the final thing to do is to thank the sponsors of this stream. You guys, especially all of you who hit like on this stream. It really helps push me out into the algorithm and support the channel, and especially to YouTube members and Patreon members who get early access to videos, members only lives, of which we will have one tomorrow. And you get access to the Discord. Depending on which one you choose, you'll either get access to special chat-only emotes or exclusive merchandise. If you go the merchandise route, there is a back-to-school sale for all Patreon tiers. All Patreon tiers come with merch, 25% off with code TRIPOD. With all that being said, chat, are we ready to get into today's theme of the stream? As you know, on Dadvocate live streams, we talk about parenting, co-parenting, dating, breakups, marriage, divorce. We make fun of cheaters, we call out double standards, and all kinds of other bungholery and buffoonery in between. So today we are going to be covering some co-parenting, baby mama drama, if you will. This is a video that has been going viral lately. You might have seen it. I've actually seen it covered across multiple platforms already. And before we even jump into it, I will let you know there is a popular opinion. There is almost an exclusively popular opinion when it comes to this video. And I personally have not seen many other people go outside of that popular opinion. So if I may dare, I would like to do that today, because when I first digested it on the first platform that I saw it on, I wanted to take the popular opinion. When I saw it a second time, I started to think about things from a different perspective. So let's just jump into it. Audio only crew, don't worry, I will describe everything that's going on. You'll also notice that there is a bit of a difference in language here, okay? So when we are all done with this video, I will also provide the Spanish translation thanks to OP, who actually did it for us. So thank you for that. So we will get all of the details before I kind of dive a bit into it. So we begin filmed from a phone that is still. I'm imagining that it is propped up against something. I am not sure how conspicuous or inconspicuous the recording is, but I will say no one seems to acknowledge it the entire time. So I don't think it's like in a hand placement or anything. And where we are is in a hospital room. The text overlay reads, imagine bringing your child to the ER at 1 a.m. and having to deal with this energy from your ex-husband's wife. Let's watch. Sorry, let me turn. Okay, the volume is up. Okay. It's just quiet. They're walking in.
Hola Gladys, ¿cómo estás? Bien. ¿Estás mejor? Sí. Sí.
Feel better?
¿Que no saludas o qué? Oh, no, vine.
Why does it have to be like this?
Oh, dude, look at this.
So, again, the first part was in Spanish. If you do speak Spanish, you're already 10 steps ahead. But all of a sudden, Dad is standing up and saying, why does it have to be like this? But he is looking at his wife as he's saying this. The text overlay reads, 2 towers in front of me.
I was perfectly fine.
What's the problem? Why can't you say hi?
Te estoy saludando bien.
Yeah, but his
Dude, I've always been polite.
So, baby daddy says to his wife, why can't you say hi and be polite? The text overlay reads, my son is having to witness all of this while sick in the ER.
Polite. I've always been polite. Ella me quedó viendo feo.
Text overlay reads, I'm mandated to notify him of medical emergencies by court order. Important context.
Yo no voy a saludar a alguien que me quede viendo feo.
I've been so generous. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I know, but it's okay. We're not here to argue. We're here for Leo. We're all.
Okay. Mom says, I've been so kind. I've been so generous. Dad says, it's okay. We're just here for Leo, trying to de-escalate the situation. Again, because of the language barrier, it's kind of hard to understand what exactly was said, so we'll get into that. The text overlay reads here, keep in mind, this is kind of the mom who's filming's internal narrative is what's going on with this text overlay. Not once did I ask him to come, but I understand he is a good dad and wants to be there for his son. So I allowed him back to be with Leo.
All here for you.
But this isn't healthy. You didn't have to come.
Well, we came because we love him.
Mom says, this isn't healthy. You didn't have to come. To which Dad says, well, we love him, so we came. To which she even says in her internal monologue with the text on screen, valid to be honest.
I love you.
He's kissing
Hope you feel
Leo.
Okay.
You're gonna be okay? You're gonna be strong? Okay. Mommy's gonna let me know what the doctor says, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Can I have a hug?
Right, he's hugging his son. Now this is interesting. I would love to hear your interpretations of this one. The text overlay internal monologue reads, feeling so bad for both of them right now. But then there's an eye roll emoji, implying that perhaps this is sarcasm and she's not actually feeling so bad for both of them. Unsure of how to read that.
Hope you feel better, okay? And the lady said that I could bring her in.
I don't have a problem, you know,
I
I'm
know, none
going.
of us do.
Well, somebody does.
Okay, so in case you missed this, after he puts his son down, he can kind of, I'm imagining, this is how I'm reading it. This is my interpretation. It seems as though he can kind of read that mom is still very tense. So he tells her that the staff let him bring in his wife because I believe it's in the caption somewhere. She makes sure to state like there are only 2 people allowed back here. So he's just trying to let her know like I didn't sneak her in or anything. So mom says, I didn't have a problem with that. Dad, still trying to de-escalate, says none of us do. To which mom, kind of not willing to let it go, says, well, clearly somebody does.
None of us have a problem.
Hold on, baby. I'll use my phone right now. Espero, de verdad. Espero, te lo digo con todo respeto.
Now this is where it gets a little bit interesting, and I think Dad might have been tipped off here. So Leo, the son, tries reaching for her phone, and she says, I'm using my phone right now. I think she kind of, if he's really listening, I think he's been tipped off. The text overlay, meanwhile, says, my son was trying to grab my phone, and at this moment, she put her finger in my face.
Disculpa si mi presencia te molesta.
No me molesta.
Soy la esposa
No
de
me
él.
molesta tu
No,
presencia.
te voy a decir
No me
una cosa.
apuntes el dedo.
Calm down.
En
Stop,
serio.
Leo. Sit down.
They're speaking in Spanish, but Dad has his arms crossed and is only looking at his wife and puts his finger up at her and says, calm down.
Sit down,
Okay,
baby. Hold on.
face.
No, es que se lo tienes que decir. Ella siempre hace lo que quiere.
Siempre te he saludado bien. Te di ropa a tu hija. Yes, I gave clothes to your daughter.
Yeah.
De nada.
Okay,
De nada.
okay,
Stop,
enough.
Leo.
We're
I
not
know that
talking
one, that's
about
your
Yeah.
welcome. And then the video ends there. But I feel like it's important to get into the comments on this one. Caption reads, time and place? Hello? Hashtag custody, toxic, ex-husband, San Antonio, emergency room, emergency, divorce, co-parenting struggles, FYP. So read some of the top comments so you can kind of get the vibe of how people were reacting to this viral video. And when I say viral, I mean, take a little peek. Just likes alone is 2.7 million. Okay, that's viral. Okay, I think we're at 25 million views right now. Probably more since, because I just checked that overnight. Top comment reads, him defending you. OP likes this. Him defending you and telling her to calm down. She liked that. Spanish, I can't read it. She is insecure AF. She likes it. He came back because he loves his child. She came because she doesn't trust him alone with you. Ooh. If he knows she's going to act like this, he needed to keep her home. OP likes that as well. Next time, tell the nurses only he is allowed. You are allowed to ask this of them, which is true. She's fishing for an issue when it's not the time or place. You did better than I would have for sure. That man still loves you. This lady does not love him or your son. Do not trust her at all. OP likes this too. I want to read a couple of your comments to get the vibe of how you guys are feeling. Rob says, looks to me like mom is attempting to get ammo to take custody or try to get her ex back. P. Phil Trigg, so far the mom is the one filming, which is kind of intrusive. And then also earlier said, I don't get the issue yet. So keep in mind, I would argue that probably like at least half, if not more, of this audience, I could be off. This is just a strong estimate from my end. I would guess at least half of them or more also do not speak Spanish and also have very little context, probably only have half of the context of this video. So like I said, fortunately, there is a Spanish translation. We'll see if this gives any more context, but I have to agree with those of you who brought up the phone thing, because that's something that I've almost trained myself to look out for right away, is whenever I'm watching a recording or a video of anything, I'm putting myself at like imagining how this was even filmed. Like, how did we even get here? And that's a good way, a great litmus test, first of all, to even figure out if the video is real. A lot of times you can figure out if it's just a skit just by that alone. But when it comes to these situations, there's so much more beyond just like, well, where did you set it up and how did you film it? My question is, why was it being filmed, right? Because here we have a lot of the issue that is being constructed just by turning the record button on before he's even lifted back the hospital curtain tells me that there's already a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy going on. Like, either this couple, one or both of them, has been a problem before, and so you rightfully feel the need to record, which understandable, you're allowed to film. It is considered a public place. You are not actually bound by HIPAA. You're allowed to film in there. I'm sure the hospital has the right to ask you to stop, but I believe you are allowed to, right? And so the other option is that you are trying to kind of be like, you're the problem. That's the other option. Either they've given you a really strong reason to record, which is very possible, or you're trying to bait something, right? These were my immediate thoughts before I even saw the Spanish translation. Like, part of me was kind of like, wow, if even the, ex is telling his wife to calm down, then, maybe she did say something completely out of line. I was thinking this, and I'm also thinking, I get wanting to just de-escalate the entire situation because you don't want to get kicked out of a hospital and cause a scene at 1 a.m. while your kid is on the struggle bus hard, right? And, all these people saying, well, just keep your wife at home, like, that's a bit disrespectful. I don't know how the wife has behaved in the past, but assuming that she is fairly normal and was not trying to cause problems, like, I mean, yeah, she's trying to support her husband, the entire, family, right? I don't know. Do you guys think that the wife should have just stayed home? How do you feel about that one? I don't think that was necessarily out of line. There was also a lot of things that she was saying about, like, I'm mandated to tell him. So it's not like she called him because she wanted him to be involved. She also was like, I didn't tell him to come, which this is something that I hear a lot from custodial parents, and it always irks me, right? Like, this was something that whenever my husband would bring up with his ex, like, I moved 250 miles to be here. Like, I sacrificed my whole life to be as active for my son as possible, so I don't want to be relegated to every other weekend. And she's like, well, I didn't ask you to do that. It doesn't matter. Like, a good parent does not operate off of being told what to do. Like, in fact, women are the ones who say, don't make me make a list for you. You should just know what to do. And then when they do know what to do and they show up, it's, well, I didn't tell you to do that. It doesn't matter. We're not Sims. We don't exist to just follow your list of commands and nothing else, right? So that part did bother me. Like, that and then when she allows him to be there, she wants to be like thanked and regaled. She wants them to like come kiss her fingers or something, like, thank you so much for letting us be here. Like, that part really rubs me the wrong way. I don't know how you guys are feeling about it just yet, but I didn't like that. Hold up, we've got a members chat from Adam Van. Like the stream. Hey, Discord gang. I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller. I'm so sorry, everybody. I got to. Yeah, there was a lot here where at first I was kind of like, I'm looking at it from a mother's perspective. My kid is sick, and like, I probably don't care to have this addition around. And, I feel like that's very natural, right? I don't think that any parent cares to have additional figures. You know what I mean? No little kid grows up dreaming like, please give me a great stepmom to share my kid with, right? No little boy is like, please God, give me a great stepdad I can share beers and my kid with. Like, that's probably not happening. You just do the best you can with the situation. So I do get that to a degree, but they're married. Like, she's part of the package now. You do have to kind of accept that. So let's see if we get more context from the Spanish translation. Don't worry, audio only gang. I will not leave you hanging. I will be reading this to you. Dude, even when you are staring at the screen, I really, like, if there was one big constructive criticism I could give to other YouTubers, it's if you're going to show text on screen, don't just leave it there silently. Right? Read it to us or have a robot read it to us. Like, do something. Have Bonzi Buddy read it to us. Like, something, but don't make me read it. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Are you guys with me? Anyway, round 2 Electric Boogaloo, Spanish to English translation of imagine your child in the ER at 1 a.m. and having to deal with this energy from your ex-husband's wife. Let's find out what the Spanish energy is. Sorry, needed some water. They're coming in again. Okay, so this was the incident. This was the inciting moment that caused all of this drama. Is they walk in and the first words spoken are from the wife saying, "Hello, Leo." Mom greets the wife, says, "Hello, Gladys." Wife says, "How are you?" Mom says, "Good." Oh, wait. That's good. Or that might have been Leo saying good. Okay, so I think she's just talking to Leo then. It's confusing because they have what the mom is saying and then what Leo's saying in the same color. Anyway, Gladys, the wife, says, "You're better?" He says, "Yes." This is the part where she also puts the text overlay saying only 2 people are allowed to be in this confined space, not 3.
Feel better?
¿Que no saludas o qué?
Now keep in mind, that was the entirety of the conversation. "Hi, Leo. Hello, Gladys. How are you? Good. You're better? Yes." Sorry, it's just, it's funny to think about, but I'll kind of expound upon it. Now Mom says to Gladys, "What, you can't say hi or what?" To which stepmom does reply, "No, I came to see Leo." At this point, I'm not picking sides. I got 2 bottles. I'm hitting you both with the no, the super no. I'm switching hands. I'm hitting you both with the no and super no. Both petty. Both petty. You're telling me the entire inciting incident is because she didn't say hi directly to you. Now you're telling me you could have gotten away with it too, Gladys. You could have gotten away with it. You could have been like, "Sorry, I was focused on Leo. Hi." You could have said that, but no. Now stepmom, old Gladys, gonna double down and say, "No, I'm not saying hi to you." So now we just have 2 bad guys, quite frankly. This guy has a type. He likes rude, petty, catty women, apparently. Because first of all, I do not like this energy of I'm allowing you to be in this hospital room. Okay? You should be on your knees thanking me. I don't like that energy. And I don't like the energy of like ignoring the mom completely, pretending that she's just like this amorphous figure that is not even a human being, and like only addressing the child and then admitting that that's what you're doing. Now, come on. There's not just one problem in the room with us. This is you're both causing problems. And I swear, like, you're both giving poor Leo woman issues. Like, you're giving him double mommy issues. How are you gonna expect him to have a normal relationship with women when, like, this is what he's got to see is two women more worried about their egos than the whole reason that they're even there, which is him. This is ridiculous, ladies.
Why does it have to be like this?
Dude, look at this.
So now Gladys says she's ridiculous. I've got to imagine, like, this is probably every single time they see each other. Like, at this point, why would you not, like, do an in the car, like, hustle beforehand? You know what I mean? Like, he's got to know that there was a high probability or chance of this happening. Like, from either side, you know, like, just that, before you go in, like, just so you know, like, she might not want you there. You might have to wait in the lobby, like, she might come at you, like, we just got to stay strong collectively and he might have done that and she just went off script. You know what I mean? It's very possible, but, like, oh brother, you two.
I was perfectly fine.
What's the problem? Why can't you say hi?
Okay, now at this point I would be pissed though. I would be pissed as the stepmom because now this mom is trying to act all, what? I didn't do anything. I was being perfectly fine. I didn't do anything. That would piss me off. First of all, I don't think I would act that petty, right? As the stepmom is doing. As a stepmom, we do not claim that behavior. But, like, if as a husband, you're supposed to have your wife's back, right? I will say he's going to have a pissed off wife when he gets home, and maybe he doesn't care. Maybe he always has a pissed off wife, so it doesn't really matter because that's just, like, her automatic gear. You know what I mean? But, like, I feel like the best thing you can do, if by any chance you are a father in the situation of trying to herd the cats of your ex and your new partner, is just, like, trying to address them as a team. This is kind of what I do with, like, my kids. You know, even if one of them is being way more of the problem than the other one, I'm like, all right, we have to lower our voices. We need to stop calling names. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to address it in, like, a gentle parenting way at that point. Because, yeah, you can't pick sides, dude. That's so dangerous. Do you think he was right for doing that? For, like, only coming at the wife and not also address? Because here's the thing. I do kind of get it because I know what it's like for a lot of non-custodial parents to feel like they have to walk on eggshells around the custodial parent, especially if you're in one of those, like, wild, wild west periods where there is not a memorialized set court-ordered schedule yet, which means they can basically just do whatever and deny you time for anything they want, right? You can feel like I kind of have to bend over backwards for this person, but at a certain point you can't. At a certain point, you do have to, like, draw your own boundaries. And for a lot of people, they're like, yep, that point will come when I have a court order. Until that time comes, I kind of have to kiss ass for a little bit. I do kind of get that. They might be there. Leo looks a little bit older, but some people don't go for the full court-ordered schedule for later. Sometimes people have a really good non-court-ordered thing going until they get a girlfriend, and then it's like time gets cut. You know what I mean? I don't know the situation.
Yeah, but his mom.
Dude, I've always been polite. I've always been polite.
Ella me quedó viendo feo. Yo no voy a saludar a alguien que me queda viendo.
All right, so I don't know if this changes any of your opinions on the situation, but we get a little bit more context from Miss Gladys here. Says, she gave me a dirty look. I'm not going to say hi to someone giving me a dirty look. So, if true, and I already get the feeling that it might be true, she comes in and just is getting a stink eye, just a side eye. And, like, we've all gotten one. We've all gotten a stink face from someone where you are just like, damn, chill on me, you know? Like, what is your deal? I think we've all experienced that in some degree. And it's like when you're getting that kind of energy from a person, yeah, you're not exactly eager to be like, thank you so much for welcoming me. Like, because the energy is immediately like, you shouldn't be here. Meanwhile, I'm sure she's looking at it from the perspective of, you know, he has rights as a father and I have rights as his wife per the staff. You know, I'm sure she's just looking at it from that point of view. But you do have to kind of you have to be a bit respectful, especially because you don't want to stress out these nurses. They're already going through a lot, okay? Her name is Gladys with a Y. Not a very common name. You only usually hear that from like, isn't there like a Pokemon gym leader named Gladys?
I've been so generous, like, you know what I'm saying?
So now mom keeps going off on, I've been so generous and like, I don't know. I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong, please. But I feel like generous people don't have to keep stressing how generous they are. Right? There's always something off whenever people are like, but I've done, after all I've done for you, but with everything I've done for you, now I'm like, why did you do that then? Just to throw it in my face later for when I disagree with you or for when I'm not like jumping when you tell me to? You know, I don't like that energy. But in response to this, like, I've been so generous. I've allowed you to see my son, right? Gladys does respond by saying, Victoria, you do not have any manners. Okay. Good morning, Samantha.
I know, but it's okay. We're not here to argue. We're here for Leo. We're all here for you.
This isn't healthy. You didn't have to come.
Well, we came because we love him.
It's funny, now that I'm like rewatching this for even like a third or possibly even a fourth time now, when he leans in, his eyes dart back and forth. I think that's when he started to figure out that this was being recorded. But I also don't think, even if he knows, I don't think he cares. I don't think it would have changed his behavior because he's been pretty consistent in his entire demeanor from the moment this recording began.
I love you.
Hold on, I'm gonna read this comment here from Lacey. Says, Gladys sounds like she's been dealing with this. That's why I'm like, I feel like I have empathy for both sides because I am a mother. To be fair, I've never had to deal with sharing my daughter with anyone else. You know, she's my full-time kid that I have with my husband. But I've also, you know, been a stepmom and like I can still like see how I would have felt even before I became a biological mother. I feel like I always could empathize with my stepson's mom as insofar as like this has got to be tough. Like this has got to be weird and tough and uncomfortable. So like I really feel like I went out of my way to try to make it as uncomfortable as possible. Eventually though, there was so much pushback that I was just like, dude, we're just doing our own thing. And that's where I'm wondering, like, if that's where Gladys might be at. That's why this is not just a co-parenting issue for me. This is also like a respect for hospital workers kind of thing, too.
Hope you feel better.
Okay.
You're gonna be okay? You gonna be strong? Okay. Mommy's gonna let me know what the doctor says, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Can I have a hug?
Okay, he's hugging Leo. I'm gonna scoot past this.
Feel better, okay? And the lady said that I could bring her in.
I don't have a problem, you know, I'm
None of
going,
us do.
well, somebody does.
None of us have a problem.
Hold on, baby. Oh, I'll use my phone right now.
Espero, de verdad. Espero, te lo digo con todo respeto.
Okay, so now we have another piece from Gladys. She says, Victoria, in all seriousness, I tell you this with all due respect.
Disculpa si mi presencia te molesta.
I'm sorry if my presence bothers you.
No me molesta.
Soy la
She says, it doesn't bother me. Your presence doesn't bother me. lying, because you immediately were like, there's only supposed to be two people here. Like, very upset off the jump. So, like, her presence clearly did bother you. Okay.
No me molesta tu presencia.
She says, Gladys says, but I am his wife, and I am going to tell you something. Oh, let me tell you something.
No me apuntes el dedo.
Calm down.
This is another thing, too, is like the exaggeration of language. Victoria, the mother, says, don't point your finger at me. Earlier, she tried saying she was pointing her finger in my face. Now, I think that we can all agree there is a strong distinction between someone getting up in your face like this, which, like, that's, you're trying to get me to throw hands, right? Don't get your finger directly in my face. That's, you have whatever's coming to you coming at that point. But I think there's a strong distinction between that and this. The finger of, like, it's just, we all know what it means when someone lifts their finger while they're talking. They're not trying to pick a fight necessarily. That's not the same thing as, like, we are physically about to scrap. To me, it almost means like a one, like, let me get this one thing. You need to listen to this one thing. You know what I mean? That's kind of more where I get. The distance completely changes the context. And I feel like it's just so bad faith to paint her as, like, literally having the finger right up here when she was just like, I need to say this. Which depends on what she says. She says, don't point your finger at me.
Stop, Leo. Sit down.
Gladys says, no, seriously.
Sit down, baby. Hold on.
Face.
No, es que se lo tienes que decir.
Now she addresses her husband, and Gladys says to her husband, no, you have to tell her. She always does whatever she wants. Who was it that said that she's probably been dealing with this? Was that you, Lacey? I'm starting to get that vibe as well. Phil says both of these women should know better. Kid is in the damn ER, sick, probably scared. Now he has to watch all the parental figures in his life bicker. Such bullshit. It really is, too. That's what I'm saying. Like, truly, it bothers me that the mom is like, time and place, hello? Because true, what you're saying is true, but how you are behaving does not align with what you're saying, because you were definitely escalating the situation. And if you don't know, cortisol, or how much stress you have in your body, your cortisol levels can strongly damage your immune system. If you have too much stress in your body, you will stay sick for longer. You could work out a ton, and if you're working out so much that you're causing your body to be too stressed, you're gonna stay fat. Like, your body has a way of being like, until you calm down, we are not doing what you want us to do. Unfortunately, right? It's that old saying of, like, if you don't rest, your body will force you to. And unfortunately, it's like this kid is in a situation of, like, who knows, maybe even deep down, this whole bickering between the parents long term is what caused this ultimate shutdown, right? But it's certainly not going to help him become spry and on his feet again.
Ella siempre hace lo que quiere.
Siempre te he saludado bien, te di ropa a tu hija.
Okay. Here we go again. I've been so generous after all I've done for you. She says, I have always greeted you nicely. I gifted your daughter clothes. I don't like... Can I just say, too, like, there's so many reasons that this rubs me the wrong way. But in particular, you know, like, I've mentioned briefly on my channel, I've never really covered it majorly, but I had an issue with, like, basically a pseudo stalker / someone who was doxing me and attempting to ruin my life and made up all kinds of crazy about me and was, like, plastering my address all over the internet. I ended up having to get a restraining order, and, like, amidst all of the various things, because it ended up, this was a person who is connected to my life, is all I will say. Somehow, nowhere near the baby mama side, don't worry about that, in another world. And through the grapevine, I've heard that this person has said that me getting a restraining order against them for doxing me, harassing me nonstop in like the craziest ways I've ever experienced in my life. They're blaming the restraining order for why they have a breathalyzer on their car, which, as you know, a restraining order does not have to mandate a breathalyzer. That's because you were driving drunk, man. Like, so many things. And like, but one of the things she always told people was like, after all I did for her, I gifted her daughter clothes. So like that really just like brought it right back. Was it's like, dude, we were literally never close ever. Like ever. This was like a one-time like random thing through like a familial grapevine, which doesn't justify doxing me in any way. And I just like that always bugged me. Like, I will freaking send the outfit back. You're right. Like, did you really think that sending me a dress gave you authority to just like lie on my name and spread my address and put me and my kids in danger? Like, because no. But I've seen this mentality at play of like, well, I've done all this for you, so I can treat you however I want, and you have to treat me like I'm a queen and a princess. And it's like, maybe I'm projecting. Maybe this mother has actually been like super, super kind, and she's like getting really frustrated that she's not having that returned. Because I feel like I've also been there, right? But why do you even need to bring up the gifting the daughter clothes thing? That should have nothing to do with it. You can bring up like, I greeted you, why can't you greet me? You can leave it there. That's why I don't like this.
Hija, yes, I give clothes to your daughter. De nada. De nada.
Enough.
Okay, so that's why she's saying you're welcome, was because she said thank you for that.
We're not talking about
De
that.
nada.
Interesting. So at this point, she just leaves because she's like, this is not worth it. So we have a couple more follow-ups as to where this goes. I shall show them to you now. So yeah, we already know that cough. If you are not familiar with this cough, you have lived a more blessed life than the grand majority of the rest of us. Okay, so what we've got here is she's kind of laying in bed with her sick son, who's obviously still going through it. That's, what is that, like the bronchitis cough? And she's kind of looking at the camera like, are you serious right now? As the text overlay reads, people telling me I should be nice to my ex-husband's wife in the ER at 1 a.m. when my son sounds like this. Again, this is one of those situations where it's like you let someone talk long enough and eventually they'll tell on themselves. Here she was in the last video, all, I've been so generous, I've been so polite, I've been so good and perfect and amazing. And then here she is. If you look closely, you can see that the subtext here to her like being incredulous to people suggesting that she should be nice is that she wasn't nice. And she knows that. She's telling on herself here. And again, I'm not team stepmom either, right? I think stepmom did overstep a little bit there and did antagonize a bit with some of her statements. But here we go. Like, you're not beating the you're not being nice to the stepmom allegations because you just admitted you were not nice. So let's read some of the comments here. Obviously, she's blowing up at this point. The caption reads, the people saying this in the comments are the same ones who do the same stuff to their stepchild's moms. I don't know what that means. I guess we're all just projecting today. Says, the women against you are probably all stepmoms. She should have waited in the waiting room. Interesting. Then there's a stepmom who says, hi, I'm a stepmom. I would have stayed back and get updated by my husband or waited outside, and I always say hi to baby mama. Them saying she was the rude one. People in the comments are defending her, but your own ex-husband was defending you. So now we finally have a comment that's against the OP. Sandra says, you're traumatizing your child for free because you don't know how to control your emotions. Another person, so the comments get a little bit divided here after the first video, says, girl, please, because your concern was greetings, and now you say it's the sound of his cough. Get out of here with that. You were wrong. Own up to your part. Another woman says, you're the one that created that whole deal. Another person says, posting a video on TikTok while your son sounded like that shows you only care about yourself and your clout. Finally, one more comment from this video. I'm not a stepmom. My son has a stepmom, and she is not obligated to talk to me. Her obligation is with her husband and your child, and she acknowledged your child and was there to check on him. You brought up you're buying her daughter clothes. For what? Okay, so I'm not the only one here who's kind of like, yeah, the for free got me too. And yes, many parents do traumatize their kids for money. I did miss a super chat here. Let me read this from Dimsum Nimsum 5425. Thank you. Says in Saskatchewan, anytime you're pulled over for any reason is now an auto breathalyzer and weed swab. How do they do a weed swab? Don't they typically have to like have you pee? Are they taking hair now? Because that's ridiculous. It'll stay in your hair for ages. I'm not looking up Johnny Somali right now. I've been following that, but totally different conversation. Okay, there's more. So, at this point, as I said, I am not the only one anymore who's side-eyeing the entire situation. At first, she was receiving waves and waves of support. And a lot of people too, they get the fallacy of numbers in their head to where they think this is a large number, so it must mean that I'm doing something right. They'll get like stuck on that. They'll be like, well, I've received so much support from going viral that clearly I'm not in the wrong. And so at that point, the search for accountability will remain ongoing. It is just going to be an endless goose chase. But because other people began to look at this through a more scrutinizing lens, other people brought up the camera and the recording thing. Other people were kind of like, okay, but why were you recording from the jump? Like, it feels like you were looking for something. So she does end up addressing this, and here's what she has to say.
I'm only gonna address this one time and one time only. People keep saying that I was ready to record her. I just want to make it known that I did not have my phone out in my hand. My phone was not in my hand at all. I was sitting down with my child next to me. My phone was against my stomach. I was sitting back and my purse was over it. So I was not standing there like, I wasn't sitting there like with my phone in my hand just...
Okay, so addressing this first part here, how she's like, okay, yes, I was recording, but I wasn't making it obvious. That's really only addressing like a part of the criticism though, right? Like, I guess it addresses the piece of the criticism that was, you were obviously recording him and therefore adding an antagonistic layer. So you can argue, well, if they didn't know that I was recording, they didn't think to be antagonized by that. You can make that argument, but it doesn't remove the self-fulfilling prophecy element. If you had already started recording, getting in your head, you're already on that high alert to look for anything that you can possibly use in this footage because you already are operating under that mindset. So this whole, well, they didn't know I was recording, so they couldn't possibly be mad, is only a partial defense and also filled with holes. Because here's the thing, just because you don't know or you don't think that they know that you're recording doesn't mean that they don't think you're recording. This is the kind of logic that I talk about a lot with cheaters. is cheaters get really mad when they're accused of cheating without evidence, because in their mind, they're like, well, you don't have proof, so therefore you don't know, so you don't have a right to treat me like you know. And it's the most frustrating, maddening, quote unquote logic. But other people use it for other situations as well, such as here. Like, well, they didn't know that I was recording, so they don't have a right to treat me like they know that I'm recording. It just completely invalidates, like, reality, quite frankly. I always say people know when they are being watched. I can't explain it scientifically, but we know. And it's so frustrating that we have to prove that every single thing. You know, if our hackles are raised because we have a feeling that someone's recording us, to get like treated like we are out of line for being on high alert thinking that you're recording us just because we're not supposed to know you are. So don't even get me started on that, which you've already gotten me started clearly. I've been on a tangent to the point we haven't finished a 1-minute video.
Ready to instigate. I'm actually really glad I did that, because there's been so many instances where I should have recorded and I didn't, and I heard from the curtain that he was bringing her back here, and I was like, you know what? If I need to record for any reason, I have the documentation, and if I don't, then I can just delete it. But now you guys can see the situation.
She once again just told on herself, right? Didn't she say, your presence doesn't bother me? And yet, as soon as you learned of her presence, you went into self-defense mode. So I think you're lying.
And the true colors behind this whole situation.
It's just so funny. This is the way that narcissists think, though, is like they think that just because they've provided their side, that there's no way that you would ever take another side after that. And when you do, they're going to like be completely shocked. They will not understand it. They might start being mean to you. And then, even though they've been mean to you, they'll still be flabbergasted when you don't take their side. They'll be like, wait, I've treated you like shit, but you don't believe me and take my side. How dare you? That's insane, right? Like, she thinks that just because she showed us this video that we're all going to see the quote-unquote true colors, aka interpret it the way that she's interpreting it. But the issue is that, like, no, we're all interpreting it from our own objective standpoints. And, like, a lot of people might be more led by your narration, more led by the way that you present things. But on this channel, we don't do that. We don't just take someone's word every time they post a 60-second clip trying to make someone look like ass. In fact, that kind of thing, people posting, like, really small snippets out of context, unless it is, like, there's a lot going on in that 60 seconds. Like, they're fully, like, spray painting a swastika on, like, a synagogue or something. Like, that's enough for me, honestly. Like, that's enough for me. Or, like, cold clocking someone who's just, like, sitting there like an old lady feeding ducks. Yeah, that's enough for me. Every once in a while. But for the most part, I really try to take everything with a grain of salt and try to look at things from, like, every angle that I can. And when you do, you know, it does peel back some layers, doesn't it? So we've got another one to react to. This is now occupying her life. I do want to check something really quick. We can look at it together. Huh. I was confused when people said doing that for free, because she is monetized. Now, she may not have had this amount of followers prior to that viral video. Like, that is the way TikTok works, is every once in a while, if you just, like, really pop off, you'll get crazy followers crazy fast. Like, the last 2 years of me being online have been, like, really gradual and steady growth. But I really have TikTok to thank a lot for any audience that I have, period, because all I did was make like a couple accidentally viral videos once in October of 2021. And I had 100,000 followers within 30 days of making those videos. It was like a total freak anomaly, probably like partially actual talent, but mostly I would say like freak luck. So it's entirely possible that like this inciting incident, because the viral videos that popped off for me weren't even crazy like 25 million, you know? So I could see her getting all of those followers from that, and only maybe recently. Wait, what? Hold up. NYC Tech says, I typed in big ol' booty and got here. That makes me so happy, dude. That's like the best news I've gotten in a while. I don't know how to describe the joy I feel from that. Thank you for that.
Another thing that I am going to talk about is the parenting time. During the time that my son was in the hospital, that was my parenting time. I am
It was my parenting time. It's mine. It's my time. She knows that I have this time to have this time, and it's my time.
That's what you sound like. You sound like a petulant fucking child. You know whose time it really is? It's all Leo's time. Every moment that Leo is alive is his time. He doesn't care about your time. He doesn't care about his dad's time. He just wants to see both of his parents, lady. He doesn't give a fuck about that, especially when he's in the hospital. When Leo is in the hospital, he does not give a shit about what some man in a robe wrote down and had notarized for you guys for way too much money. He doesn't care. He just wants to see both of you. And if he loves his stepmom, which might be hard for you to hear, but a lot of kids end up loving a lot of adults throughout their lives, he probably wants her there too, and doesn't want to see you guys mistreating each other in front of him. I hate this "it's my time" ass bullshit clown foolery. It makes me so mad, dude. And it also confirms everything that I had theorized about her feeling like she should be worshipped. Like there should be a parade in the street, a statue in her honor in the local town square for allowing this man to show up at the hospital. Dude, you wouldn't have even let him know that Leo was sick if the court didn't make you. It is so sad that in this, because of the family court system, we literally need judges and people wearing big black robes and like curly napkin collars to make parents act right. That's embarrassing. That's so embarrassing for you. First of all, that you need a court order to tell the other parent of your child when there is a hospital emergency. But second, that you're seriously going to be caught up in whose time it is when that happens. Pathetic. That's so pathetic. What else does she have to say?
I'm required to notify him of medical emergencies, but that's not his time. Like, they shouldn't have even really been there. But I do understand.
She seems like the type of woman who would be like, well, because you did spend 30 minutes with Leo during my time in the hospital, I will be picking him up 30 minutes early on this Sunday at the end of your parenting time, just because it was my time and you infringed upon it. Like, how many, like, dollars are we betting right now that that is absolutely what she ended up doing? Just a nickel and diming this dude for hospital time.
Understand that my son was in the hospital and like he wanted to see his son, so I allowed it because I'm not gonna keep his son from him during.
Dude, bitter baby mamas love using this line. They will literally allow 4 days a week while fighting all overnights and be like, well, I'm not going to keep him from his son. I would never keep him from his son. That's why I allow 4 visits a month. Because I would never keep them apart.
A time of concern or worry for his health. So again, I don't have a problem with them going to check on my son, but if it's my parenting time and they're going back there, I don't think that I should have to deal with any disrespect.
It's my parenting time, and during my parenting time, you have to worship at my altar. You need to come light a candle at my throne. You need to kiss the ring. You need to add cash to the basket that will be passed around. That's how my parenting time works.
God forbid we end up in the hospital again, but if we do, moving forward, I'm just gonna take the advice that so many people gave, and they were like, just let the nurse be the bad guy and tell them like only biological parents or only like 2 people in the room. And yeah, I guess that's just like gonna be the best way to go about it.
Okay, keep that same energy. This is the problem. This is the problem, especially when, and I don't know if she's dating anybody. I don't know. Let me try to do like a quick little investigation here. But typically, when one parent is single and the other parent is dating, they will start throwing in like the most ludicrous parenting time agreements and addendums, and they'll start throwing in things that they cannot hang with once they start dating. It'll be things like, oh, the child can't even meet a new significant other until it's been exactly a year. Oh, and no one can even spend the night unless they're married, and like all these kinds of things, such as if it's a hospital emergency, only biological parents. Like they'll make up all these rules now, but then as soon as she starts dating someone, oh, let me tell you how it is going to do a full turnaround, how it's suddenly going to be, yeah, but I need him to be with me. Like, this is really emotional for me, so I need my husband in the hospital with me. And, oh, well, he's a good guy, so it's actually okay that I introduced him sooner than you got to introduce your girlfriend. Like, they cannot hang with holding themselves to the same standard. It is rules for thee, but not for me with these kinds of people. So it's like, as long as you keep that same energy, but I know she's not going to. I'm sorry, but the probability in these situations when one party is single and they start making up all these rules, again, maybe I'm projecting. I've seen it happen, though, so many times with other people. This was exactly my situation when I got introduced. Was we even dated for a year, like, quietly, before even being like, it might be time to introduce him. And she was like, no, not until I meet her. And I don't want to meet her. So I'm like, okay, I respect that. I'm gonna hide under a blanket for months and months and months. And you already know what happened when she got a boyfriend. Him and his Xbox come moving into the same room she shares with her son while living with her parents, sleeping over during the school week. But it's fine because he's a nice guy. No, it's different because he's a really nice guy. I'm a nice guy. I'm a nice guy. Okay. So it's not going to be the same. It will not be, no. Low bet. Not impossible. Improbable, though.
Right now, I'm just focused on getting my son better and healthy. I also work from home and go back and forth from Houston to San Antonio, so my schedule is super busy. And, hospital visits, especially in the middle of the night, are not the easiest, and it's just not easy, especially if we're having like these types of issues. So that's really all I have to say about that.
Okay. See how the comments are doing now. The tables have turned by this point. Top comment: you're definitely a bitter baby mom. Oh man, this person, I'm divorced. I don't care. If I have a problem, we can talk after the emergency and in private, never in front of the kids. Priorities. Agree. This is ridiculous. Yeah, my parenting time told me all I needed to know. Weird how you only checked her and not your ex-husband. That also didn't. You seem bitter. Guys, is that happening? Is society waking up? Are we finally starting to collectively get it? I'm so proud of the internet right now, dude. Like we're really standing together. That was mostly women commenting that stuff. Like this isn't one of those like rare times where like the manosphere completely takes over a comment section and she never stood a chance. You know what I mean? Like this is like we are coming together as humans to look this in the face and be like, no, y'all be wild. Like correct your behavior. Oh, I love it. So anyway, there was a little bit more. We're gonna turn that licensed music right the heck off is what we're gonna do. So this is her showing the texts. I guess she thinks that this is going to like get us back on her side or something, but she texts the baby daddy, headed to the ER with Leo. He's not doing well. Dad says, which one are you going to? Is he okay? She says, hang on, I'm on the line. Not really. Hang on, I'll call you in a sec. He says, okay. She sends the emergency room location. Then immediately gets into financial stuff. Is his health insurance with United? He says Blue Cross Blue Shield, because this is a man who stands on business right here. If you're not from America, that's a really good health insurance. She says, I got it. He says, I'm in the lobby. She says, okay, just go to the front and tell them Leo is here. We're in the back already. The nurse said you guys can't come back here for causing a scene. And now Leo is crying for you. No, this is not a good look. I like wish that I could just like reach in and like swipe to see what time these were like sent apart. I'm assuming that this was sent after the stepmom walks out. Gladys leaves at the very end. And I'm sure that dad went and like followed after her to make sure that she's okay. And so now she's saying that the nurse is like, you can't come back. And now you made your son cry. Which like, dude, are you serious right now? Like, you really thought this would make you look better? This, like, seriously being like, you made our kid cry. Girl. She said everything was fine. Bronchitis and gastrointestinal infection, sending emergency meds for me to pick up now. I'll send you the out-of-pocket pay so we can split it if there is one. He needs an inhaler, steroids, and Zofran for nausea. 52.56. She says the receipts. Against who? Who do you think these receipts look bad on, dude? This all I see from these receipts is a man who is concerned about his son, who is ready to show up as soon as he is aware, does show up, makes sure that all the insurance is paid for, is there to provide all of the financials, and then you start emotionally manipulating. That's all I'm getting from these receipts. She says, I notified him but didn't tell him to come. Okay, but you gave directions for how to get in there, so why are we acting dumb right now? There are so many different scenarios that could have happened that night. People's opinions don't really matter to me because at the end of the day, I did what I was supposed to do in that situation, which is notify him. Congratulations. Do you want a cookie for following the law? Dude, bitter baby mamas love, like, bragging about doing what the court orders them to do. They're like, no, like, I'm really such a generous mother because, like, I do make sure that he gets to his weekend visits. Like, I don't withhold his time. Like, I don't take it away from him. Right, because you're not allowed to. Because you legally cannot, or you will be held in contempt of court. Like, that's crazy. You don't see me walking around, like, guys, like, I'm such a good person. Like, I probably could hold up this convenience store and terrorize everyone with weapons and steal all of their money, but like, I don't. Like, I never do. I never have. Like, that's how good of a person I am. Like, the goodness of your character is not derived by the terrible and cruel things you don't do. Are you kidding me right now? I never asked him to come, but I knew if he did, we could keep it cordial in front of my son, and also, it's his right as my son's father. And we did. He said, I'm in the lobby, not we. My ex and I were in triage for about an hour before he got up and brought his wife to the back. He did greet me when he first walked in, for everyone asking why I didn't call him out. Also, only 2 people plus the patient are allowed in that room. Okay, so this is where there's a lot of cultural discussion in the comments. I don't know if I have a lot of people here in the chat right now who have any kind of like Latin, Spanish, Mexican background, but it was quoted as saying that like a big part of those types of heritages is like greeting everyone as soon as you walk into a room. So like I'm American, I'm a Slav American gal. And like in general, I think like a quick greeting when you arrive is probably universal. But like maybe I'm in the wrong for this. A lot of times if I enter somewhere and my husband goes, "Hi everybody," I feel like it counts for both of us. Am I wrong for that? Like I feel like we arrive as a unit, and so it's like he got the hi for like covers the family unit. Am I wrong, or do I also need to be like formally greeting and like also saying hello specifically? Please correct me if my manners have just been like left in the lurch out here. I'm really curious about that. And I do agree if only biological parents are allowed, but like, I mean, he did say that the staff said it was chill. So, I don't know. I love that Brian says, no, you let TJ extrovert. Yes, thank you. Thank you. I'm in my princess girlfriend wife era. So what do they call it? When you don't speak, you just let the man speak. Anyway, she reiterates only 2 people are allowed in that room. They allow 2 people because he's a child. If Leo was an adult, there would only be 1 person allowed back there. I'm gonna call a little bit of BS. I think it's like the hospital rules are probably like you can only expect to have 1 person back there at a time, but like depending on who's on staff, like they might be more flexible. But that seems crazy because I feel like there have been multiple times in my life where like a friend has some crazy freak accident, like they break their ribs and leg in a skiing thing or like something, and like we all go as a group to like bring flowers and hang out for a minute. Like this was like pre and post COVID. I feel like we have absolutely crammed a hospital room. I get every hospital is different, but hold on, I think I missed a super chat earlier. I did. Chala the Prinny says, America's New Game, whose time is it anyway? Oh, the worst game, and yet is played in family courts every day. Samantha says, Andrew says, yes, you are supposed to greet everyone. Andrew, what the... like, by name, like, every single... like, me and my husband arrive at the function. And he goes, hi, Gladys. Hi, Victoria. Hi, Richard. Hi, Barry. I also have to go, hi, Gladys. Hi, Victoria. Hi, Barry. Hi, Richard. I hate it here. I will never visit you guys again. Not you and Andrew, but, like... if I got chewed up and like ripped up for that, I don't know. I definitely was not greeting you guys appropriately when I showed up. I feel like I just give a general like, and I think that's good. I get enough eye contact from the majority of the room, enough to like give one of these. In fact, sometimes I'll be at an event for like 45 full minutes before I even get to say hi to a cousin. You know, I don't know. It's like that, right? Anyway, as someone says, oh, culture is a huge part of this. Pride is often everything to some Latino cultures. Interesting. So this is deep. This runs deep, huh? A hug and a kiss to every single person? I gotta get slobbered on by everybody, Victor? Oh, I'm too Slavic for some of this. Dude, I feel like I've told this before, but like, again, I am a Slavic woman, Ukrainian ass mom, Polish ass dad, not a lot of affection going on growing up. Like, some of you guys like got called cute as kids. Will never know what that's like. Some of you guys like were regularly hugged. I had a very unhugged life. Okay, then I meet and marry Mr. TJ of Italian descent. Dude, entering his family was like a huge culture shock because I showed up to everything and everybody was kissing me and I was like, I'm used to it now. I've gotten used to it slowly, but like at first I was like, what is going on? Like I was like, we don't do this. Victoria goes, peck on the cheek does not equal slobber. I guess I know that now. I'm a bit more used to it, but like I still don't do it myself. Like if I go somewhere and everyone wants to like give the more like huggy kissy greeting, I can tolerate it now. But like I'm not usually the one doing the smooching. I'm not pretty hard pressed. And also like I feel like I grew up with so many people who hate hugs that like I really have to know. Like you have to kind of like have open body language for me to even go for it. I'm just not trying to make people uncomfortable. Like I have so many Slavs in my family that are like, don't touch me. Shiny says, no, greet the hosts, then people as you talk to them. That's okay. That's fair. I am very good about greeting hosts. Like I just went to one of my daughter's friends' birthday parties and the parents were having it at their parents' place. So I was like, please introduce me to your parents so I can properly thank them for doing this. So I am pretty good about that, but I didn't kiss any of them. I did not kiss them. She goes on to say, God, this is a freaking essay of a caption. I didn't even know they let you make captions this long. But apparently you can just write a full Substack on your TikTok if you want. She says, my point is, she should not have been back there to begin with. All right, fair. I feel like it would have been good to, like, warn her, like, ask, like, in some polite way, like, hey, I'm bringing Gladys. Like, she just wants to also see Leo. Like, staff says it's okay. Do you mind? I think probably would have gone a long way here. My son is sick. I was worried, and I shouldn't have to deal with more at that moment because it takes focus away from my son and his current needs. My son is what matters here, and you can clearly see it took a lot for me to keep my composure when I was already dealing with the situation of my son being sick at the time. My son. She could have FaceTimed him if she wanted to know what was happening, and she should have been home with her 5-year-old on a school night instead of at the hospital where she wasn't allowed. That energy doesn't help my son, period. By the way, my son's dad and I are on good terms for the good of our son. Okay, I'm willing to partially agree that like FaceTime might have been a good idea just so that you don't like get everybody else sick. You know what I mean? I think definitely a vibe check at the hospital is probably warranted. Like, hopefully, like, let her know, like, you might be waiting in the lobby, da-da-da. But also, she is painting Gladys as though she left a 5-year-old home alone on a school night. I really doubt that that's what happened. If that's what happened, then Gladys and the husband have now become the primary villains of this story. But like, I really don't think that these two adults would be like, okay, you're good here, little 5-year-old, especially because like Leo looks like he's 5 roughly. Like, I doubt that this dad would be like, I'm gonna rush to the hospital to care for this one kid, but like, F this kid. I'm sure she had like parents, family, someone to stay with her daughter. Like, that's incredibly bad faith, to say the least. But like, incredibly rude and damaging, to say the most, trying to pretend like they're just leaving this kid, like they're terrible people. And yet we're kind of getting one back over here now. At this point, people are loving these receipts, I guess. This woman says, your video did not reach the right people. I just want you to know you are not the problem, which OP apparently definitely agrees with. I'm getting a lot of support, thank God. The rest is either people who don't have kids or are the stepmoms wanting to cross boundaries or prove something. Yeah, all of you fathers in the chat disagreeing with this behavior. You're sure one of those camps, huh? Most mature one was him out of the whole situation. Honestly, Leo probably was. Girl, you are not in the wrong. She was the one that had a problem since she walked in. As a stepmom of 8 years, she should have stayed home. But then we do still get some, girl, you are the problem. I don't know. I don't know. So we've got 2 more videos from this situation. The girly pops have shown up in droves. Don't they always just, though? It's so funny too, because like I am a stepmom, but like I've said, I'm not even fully team stepmom on this. And I am willing to agree with her on some things, you know, like they probably should have communicated ahead of time, you know, maybe FaceTiming would have been a good idea as well. But like 2 things can be true at once. The stepmom can be in the wrong and you can be hella in the wrong too. Like, especially posting all this stuff and making it so public in all of our business. Oops. Sorry, I started playing it without sound.
Okay, so this morning my son's dad texted me and asked me if he could come get my son, and I told him yes. My son does stay over at his house.
There's text overlay that reads, normally he picks up after he gets out of work, but I didn't mind giving him more time since he was off. Again, bitter baby mamas just love bragging about like ever giving more time. Like, even though she probably has work to do, like she probably would have just like had him on the iPad while she's working from home anyway. Like she still has to be like, aren't I so generous for giving him this extra time? I am so kind.
Thursday nights, but my ex is not working today, and a lot of people in the comments were telling me that as a mother, like they would feel uncomfortable leaving their son with a woman like that, like if we're not getting along. But I did ask him if he was going to be with him all day long, and he told me yes, he took the day off.
Again, aren't I so kind for letting him have my son, even though his wife is a witch? Like, a lot of you told me not to, but like, I'm just such a great
Getting
person.
along, but I did ask him.
The text overlay, by the way, reads, correction, he had the day off due to job-related matters, nothing to do with me.
If he was going to be with him all day long, and he told me yes, he took the day off. He came by himself, and we had 0 issues this morning. Everything was very amicable. And I just want to touch on a few things, because people were saying that, you know, it is his right to be there, and I agree absolutely 100%. However, what people don't know is that my son has been in the hospital numerous times. And in almost 5 years, because my son's about to turn 5, this is the first time that he shows up when my son has to go to the ER at night, or doctor's appointments for that matter. I have always taken my son to doctor's appointments by myself. The only appointment that he came to was when my son was first born, and it's like that little newborn visit like 2 days after you come home from the hospital to the pediatrician. But that's literally the only doctor's appointment that he's ever been to. I did make a video.
Okay, I do have a few questions. So your son has been hospitalized numerous times, or are we equating doctor's visits with hospitalizations? Because this is where it also gets very tricky, right? Like, So for a really long time, my husband was like incredibly excluded from or not hospital, doctor's appointments. Like she made very, very clear that she did not want him there during appointments. And this was also during a time where he only had every other weekend. So it's like if he's only allowed to have every other weekend and a brief visit after school, when is he going to have time to make doctor's appointments? Like, you wanted all this custody, you fought against him having more custody, so you kind of are going to get all of the doctor's appointments. Yes, that's kind of how it goes. But additionally, like, she also tried to have the medical records barred from him, and he had to like present a court order showing that he actually did in fact have rights to his son's medical info. So like, there really are parents out there that either make it incredibly difficult for you to be involved in that kind of thing, or just straight up try to cut you out of it. Or there's parents who are just relegated to every other weekend, and it's like, when are you going to make a doctor's appointment on a weekend? Like, be so for real, you just can't do it. Now, if he has the opportunity to go to these things and he just like doesn't want to, if this is one of those situations where the guy magically starts stepping up as soon as he gets a girlfriend because he wants to impress her, then I'm not impressed by that behavior. But I can't tell just from this alone. What I can tell is that she is now using a massive platform to talk mad shit about her very public facing, identifiable baby daddy. Why? Like, for what reason? Like, you're trying to protect your son allegedly, and yet you're turning his entire childhood into a sitcom on TikTok.
Video of that sometime last year, because I'm the only one who's ever taken my son to get vaccines, everything he needs. I set up all the appointments, and I have asked him to be involved and help me with that, but it just has never happened. But he did show up.
What do you mean it's never happened? Doesn't he pay for the medical insurance? What do you mean you've asked him to be involved and it's never happened? He is more involved in knowing who the insurance is through than you. You don't even know who your kid's insurance is through. What do you mean he's not involved?
2 nights ago for the first time in the hospital in almost 5 years. Now, people can say whatever they want, but that was literally so
if she puts another layer on her face, I am going to scream. Like, don't get me wrong, she has better skin than me, so like maybe I should just be taking notes. But like, you look like a glazed donut. How many layers do you need on your face?
Because I don't know how to act. Like,
this
I've
better
never
go in the hair. It better go in the hair.
At
oh,
doctor's appointments with him. He's never come to the hospital to check on our son ever. Some people were saying like, oh, she knows what type of man he is, and she knew that he would show up. Dude, he's like never shown up. And the hard part about that is that most of the times when I have to take my son to the doctor or the hospital because he's sick, it's literally right after I get him back, when the custody comes back to me. So just imagine, like, y'all can say that I'm...
Oh boy, now this is not even just a bitter baby mama thing. This is a bitter parent thing, and I would really advise all of you to try to like catch yourself if you see yourself doing this, but I call it the hypochondriac parent syndrome. And it comes with like being bitter and resentful toward your ex. But like, I swear, there are certain parents who get these conspiracies in their head of like, every time my kid comes back from their dad, or every time my kid comes back from their mom, they have some kind of a rash or a bruise, or they're sick, and it must be their fault that they're sick because they came back. They're kids. They're kids. They're going to get rashes and bumps and bruises. Now, again, this is a totally different thing if you find out this house has bed bugs, they're crawling with lice, like the house is truly and genuinely like would not pass an inspection from like CPS or something, right? Totally different situation, but like for the most part, if you're just regular people, your kid's gonna get sick sometimes. Like, if you're genuinely concerned, you can do a check to make sure there's no like, have CPS show up, make sure there's no like mold in the house or whatever. But like, come on, guys, you're being hypochondriac better parents, okay? Like, there's a lot like that, and every single thing has to be like, why did he come back with a hole in his pants? Why did he come back with this scratch? Did the cat scratch him? Is your cat too dangerous to be around children? You should have your cat taken out of the house. Like, there's so many people who like overthink, and it's like, I am begging you to let your kids be kids and calm down.
Bitter or whatever for posting, but how would you feel if you always have to like clean that mess up or like take care of your son because he comes back sick?
I got him back Monday morning. Leo sounds sick. How is Leo feeling today? He's sniffing. He did good at karate yesterday. Okay, maybe it's just allergies, but that's good to hear. Like, yes, lady, like, yeah, it happens. And like, when you're the custodial parent, which this seems to be, maybe it is week on, week off, and I'm like not reading enough into it, but like, if you're the custodial parent, like, yeah, you're gonna have most of the sick time. I don't know what to tell you. Now, here's something that bothers me is this is an issue that we had with, you know, my stepson's ex in the past. Would be like, he would get sick during my husband's time with him, but she would be like, he's too sick to leave here. And so my husband would be like, okay, well then can I have like makeup time? Because this is the only day of the week that I would have gotten to see him. And she's like, no, he's sick. Just deal with it. And it's like, her excuse would be like, well, I have to deal with him when he's sick and like, I don't get makeup time. It's like, well, yeah, you have like 75% of the year. Like, it's completely different, but you understand that if he stays home sick, he's not going to see his dad at all for a week and a half. Like, come on. Like, that kind of stuff used to really bug me. But what else does she have in this little arsenal of evidence or whatever?
If I'm being 100% honest, I don't even know that it was his idea to show up that night anyway. I went through something similar
Oh yeah, that's always the case, is to every baby mama, like their husband or their ex-husband or their ex or just the father of their children, if they never dated, suddenly loses all autonomy when he starts dating a new woman. It's her idea for everything now, magically. Like that could be the case. Like some men really do not feel like a fire under their ass until they've got a woman in their ear telling them like, you need to be doing better, like focus, like get on track, lock in, you know what I mean? Like occasionally that does happen, but like, so what if it was Gladys's idea and if she's like, you should go visit your son? Who, like, it really doesn't matter at that point.
3 years ago when we were getting divorced. We were still kind of like fighting for the house. It's actually been exactly like 3 years since this happened. My son got really sick at night. I have it on video. And
I bet.
I was asking him to come and help me because my son was in the hospital. I was like, let's put what's going on aside and let's focus on Leo. You guys just don't know what I've been through with this man, and I've always allowed him to be present during these situations.
I've always allowed him to be present. No, you have a court order. The court forces you to let him be present. You don't get to claim that as like a character bonus or something that like you decided on. I swear, like, not like, this is a narcissistic tendency that has been displayed over and over again by her, is like she has to make everything sound like it's her idea. Right? Like, I'm sure she's the kind of person who, like, when the red hand doesn't let her walk across the street, she's like, I didn't want to walk anyway. And then when it shows up, she's like, now is when I wanted to walk anyway. Like, everything has to be her idea, whether it is mandated by the law or not. Like, she's going to find a way to maneuver it into being like, well, that's the outcome that I wanted anyways, right? And everything, like, she's just so generous for everything she allows. Lady, you literally don't have the right to exclude him from his son's life. You don't, because despite the fact that you film literally every aspect of your life, apparently you clearly don't have enough to kick him out of his son's life. You clearly don't have anything bad enough. He seems like a very chill guy, dude.
It's just like he chose not to. 3 years ago when I had to take my son to the hospital because he had bronchitis, when I got back home from the hospital at 4 in the morning, I came back to the house with all of the locks changed. Okay, my son in the hospital was not a priority at that time for him and his family.
Okay, so we're getting a little bit more context. We're getting a lot of tea. This is the thing, is like people do not even realize how much they are violently oversharing online. So she mentioned that, you know, the last time there was a hospital thing, she and her husband were fighting over the house, and while they're gone, I guess he and his family changed the locks. Now, I know that in a lot of different cultures, it's pretty common to like live with your family. So I'm kind of curious as to what's going on here, but like, I am wondering too if like maybe it was him and his family who bought the house and now they're kind of standing down like, now's your chance. Now, I don't think he's legally allowed to change the locks if she has personal belongings in there. This is kind of crossing some legal boundaries, so he might be entering some bad guy territory here. Like, I understand why he and his family might want to do that. Like, if she put nothing on the house and they were only married a brief time and like she's trying to take it all, I can understand the fear, but legally I don't think you can do that.
But changing the locks so that when I got home,
she also puts in subtext that because of this, she couldn't get in, so she slept on the neighbor's couch with her son. Yeah, also bad guy points for like not really caring where your kid is going to sleep that night.
From the hospital with my son.
Also that we don't know how true this is. She's not the most reliable narrator.
I do feel like I'm the one who's had to do all the sick parenting on my own this whole time. And if you're a parent, then you know how hard that is. Like, not having help.
You have no help whatsoever. It sounds like he's paying his child support. Like, it sounds like he's paying everything because you knew that that health insurance was being taken out of something. And I don't think that child support is a replacement for parenting at all. That's only part of the equation. But like, kids do cost money, and if another figure is providing hundreds of dollars to you every month, that's help. That is still help. So it does bother me. Like, and I'm sure she's like losing a lot of the baby mamas who were originally on her side, who are not receiving any child support, who could never rely on the man showing up for like anything. They don't even have to worry about whose time it is because he doesn't show up for any of his time. And that's not to set the bar as the bare minimum of like, you should be happy he's doing anything. But like, the fact that like all of his medical insurance is being covered by this guy, besides the copay, which you're still splitting in half outside of the court order, he's still offering to do. He's only mandated to pay the court order, only mandated to pay the part of the medical insurance and the child support. He doesn't have to split the copay with you, but he still chooses to. And you're going to come online and go, I get no help. Annoying.
It's just really difficult. My point is that I'm the one who's done the sick late nights, the doctor's visits, all of that on my own. And I don't ask him for help because at this point, I mean, it's been almost 5 years that he doesn't show up for that stuff. So I'm not going to beg him. He knows that the door has always been open to be present for things that have to do with our son, and if he makes it, then great, and if he doesn't, then I'm not gonna make a big deal about it. He's just, that's something that he has to live with. I think now that my son is getting older and my son is more aware and like has more conversations and stuff like that,
she puts, my son is also starting to ask questions.
I think that he is being a little bit more active. Fun fact, my dad has actually been to way more doctor's appointments, vaccine appointments, hospital visits, and everything than my son's actual dad.
Man, she reminds me so much of my husband's baby mama in so many ways. She also loved hitting my husband with the, I just feel like my dad has been more of a dad than you have been. Like, I just feel like my dad is more of a dad to our son than you are, which, like, holy Freudian slip, dude. Like, that sounds weird. That is a really weird thing to say, especially because, like, when they were, on the younger kids side of things, not quite teenagers, but, like, barely started college, and they were sitting down talking about how to move forward, like, the the mom's dad actually asked my husband to like step down and let him adopt the baby, which means that he would have been listed as the legal father with his daughter. That's weird. It's great if you want to be an active and involved grandparent. There are plenty of those. There are grandparents who see their grandkids like every single day, right? Plenty who live with their grandkids, but like wanting to be the father of your daughter's child is not it, I fear. That's not. Yeah, that was also like the big reason that mediation failed for my husband the first time he tried going was like the mediator's like, okay, so I want to hear from both of you. Like, what do you want to see and what do you want to see? And my husband's like, I would love a more 50-50 resolution, whether it's, week on, week off or 2-4-4-2 or, something like that. But I would just like to be more involved. And then she starts speaking. She's like, I don't know. I just feel like my dad is more of a father to him than you are. And just like starts laying on the disses. So my husband was like, I'm not going to sit here and listen to this. Like, if you're not going to actually be efficient with this time and you're just going to hurl insults, then we'll just skip mediation because this is not worth it. But it's just like, it's weird, and for some fathers who are so uninvolved and not wanting to be involved that they're not showing up for things, then like shame on them, I guess. But it's like, yeah, your dad is probably going to be more involved when you still live with him and you are incredibly like withholding of time that the man can even spend with his son. Like, yeah, that'll probably happen, but wanting to replace the father of your son with your dad, we don't need to do all that. No.
Because my dad's been there to support me. I have had my differences with my dad in the past. We were able to like move past it. Because he does help me a lot. Like, my family really helps me so much with my son because they know that I cannot really rely on my son's dad outside of his custody schedule. This is the first time.
Hold up. Did little miss, it's my time. I don't need you to infringe on my time. You can't be here during my time. It's my time. Did little miss my time really just pull the, I just feel like I can't really rely on him outside of his custody time? Are you freaking serious right now? Are you serious? So you're gonna be all bossy, claiming your sovereignty, ruling your piece of land that's all yours and no one else. And if you dare step foot, we better follow your rules. You're gonna rule over your time like that. But you're also going to expect that he's just at your beck and call as well. I fully clocked it earlier when I was like, she's really displaying a lot of the narcissistic tendencies with the whole like, yes, I'm gonna treat you like shit, but how dare you not like me routine that all narcissists do. Here we are. Wow, we really did just like hit the absolute delusion button full force there. It's my time. It's my time. Why aren't you obeying me? Why are you only showing up to do things that I should be doing when it's your time? You're gonna brag and like dance and have a parade in the street when you allow him a few extra hours before his normal pickup time, but then like also burn him at the stake when he can't show up during your time?
That I'm a parent. I don't want to cry. It is my first time being a parent, and You know, I do feel like I've been robbed of that, like, parenting experience, like first time mom piece, because I'm having to deal with these types of situations.
What first time moms do you think are at peace? What? Do you think that like most first time moms get to just like have fully rested nights? Everything's calm, bliss, and stress free? Lady, wake up and look around you. Please look outside of the tiny bubble that you exist in.
As well as learning to be a mom. Like, my son's about to turn 5. I've never been a mom to a 5-year-old. If there are any moms out there that can just kind of give me some advice, I would really appreciate that, because
we've been trying. You won't take our advice because you're like, you're just a bitter stepmom, or like you don't have kids my same age, or you're a different culture, so your opinion doesn't. It doesn't matter. We've been trying to give you advice. You won't take it. You're pretending that you care about what other people think, but you don't.
I didn't grow up with divorced parents. My ex didn't grow up with divorced parents either. And like, we just don't know what it's like for our son. You know, I'm trying my best. In this situation, you have to be super careful because we are dealing with like custody issues and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And anything can be used against you throughout this.
Correct. Keep pulling at that thread, dear. You're so close. I'm sure you can almost taste it. Have you once, at any point while filming all of this, considered that this could be used against you? Like, have you considered that at all?
Whole thing, my family has been nice to him, very compassionate, and I will say I have not received the same type of treatment from his family, which is fine. I'm not asking for it, but I do feel like he has it a lot easier, you know. I do rely a lot on my best friend and on my mom and on my dad. My grandparents help me a lot too, so I am blessed in retrospect, but people think that I'm like trying to prevent him from being in his son's life, and that's not the case. I've been forced to rely on my family a lot because my husband is currently incarcerated, so I don't really have any help at home.
Well, that information just got snuck right on in there. You see how we just tried to like throw that in passing, as if like it's the same thing as saying like, oh, well, you know, my husband's really into the show Wednesday, or like, you know, my husband has 2 brothers, or like, you know, my husband really likes tacos, is the same exact way that you just presented my husband is incarcerated. I can't explain all of the ways that does indeed change things and make some things make sense. I'm also afraid to, because I don't want to be like such an unempathetic person that I'm gonna like say something like, how are you really gonna judge your ex and his wife when they're not even in jail? But I know it's more nuanced than that. I do know that. But that thought still crossed my mind.
Pay all the bills by myself here in San Antonio, and I have another residence in Katy.
What do you mean you pay the bills by yourself? Again, I feel like we've established that the father is definitely paying child support. I think we know this. Or do you just mean like I pay all the bills by myself because my husband is incarcerated? Because like... I don't know, man. Unless he's like really unjustly incarcerated, it's kind of hard to feel bad.
No, I work over there full time. I haven't moved over.
Wait. I have to read this from my opinion. Good, your opinion bad says. It's like trying to sell a car and then casually mentioning there's no engine in it. What a great analogy.
There because that would mean that my son has less time with his dad and we would have to go to court, which we are going to go now. I've been silenced before.
Wait, hold on. So they haven't gone to court yet?
friend and on my mom and on my dad. My grandparents helped me a lot too. So I am blessed in retrospect, but people think that I'm like trying to prevent him from being in his son's life, and that's not the case. I have been forced to rely on my family a lot because my husband is currently incarcerated, so I don't really have any help at home. I pay all the bills by myself here in San Antonio, and I have another residence in Katy. Even though I work over there full time, I haven't moved over there because that would mean that my son has less time with his.
There we go. There we go. So you guys are fighting over the house, but you have 2 houses? So you have a house that's closer to where you work. Even though you said you work from home. You work from home. Why do you need 2 houses? But one is closer to where... What? Then she finally admits it. Not in speech, but there's a text overlay that reads, I get child support, but that doesn't cover my back and forth trips to and from Houston. My job is 100% over there. What? That sounds like a you problem. Yeah, child support covers the child, not your lifestyle. You just said that you could work from home. Why do you have to go back and forth to Houston? It sounds like Houston is probably where your man is locked up. And you're just making an excuse for your stay-at-home work to have to happen there. And you want your ex to pay for your trips to go visit your jailhouse husband. That's what it sounds like. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But that's what it sounds like. Yeah, child support is not meant to cover 100% of your bills and 100% of your chosen lifestyle. It is supposed to reasonably cover the child's needs. So there we go. Child support confirmed, though I feel like we knew that.
Dad, and we would have to go to court, which we are going to go now.
Oh, brother. So now she's trying to act like she's actually being an angel by having a residence in Houston and keeping the house wherever they were leaving, because at least that makes it easier for her son to see his dad. And she doesn't want to go back to court, but now she is, because enough of the internet mob convinced her that spending thousands of dollars to uproot her kid's life so she can go do her job with her prison husband, apparently. Girl, you're playing with fire. She really thinks with 100% certainty that there is no way that it's not going to go her way in court. There's a lot working against her. Her man is in prison. God forbid he's a felon. God forbid it is like sex crime related. She's got all these crazy identifiable videos talking shit about her ex and the mom while displaying the kid's face, which I think a lot of judges will frown upon. All this is out there. There is a chance she could lose custody. I mean, if he really has it set up, like me and my family have a home, we can take care of her, like, or him, he doesn't have to like give up where he's at in school, because like school nights are clearly very important to her, as we remember from her being like, why isn't Gladys with her kid on a school night? School nights are very important, unless it means uprooting the kid and completely changing his routine by going to a new school, I guess. Girl, you better slow down. Especially if you're steady, consistently working, you're earning enough money to support a house on your own. If he quits his job, he can come for you for child support. Did you even think about that? Does that even cross your mind? He could quit his job if Gladys is working. She can pay for everything, and you'll never be able to go after Gladys's paycheck. You can only go for biological parents' paycheck. Ooh, you don't like that she's not involved now, do you? That could happen. Lady, you need to open your eyes, because you are like about to run straight into the wall. You're about to lose custody, have to be paying some child support to this man. Gladys is going to be using your money to get her nails done. You better slow down, because family court is unforgiving. It don't just work only for the moms these days anymore. If you make money as a woman, you're worth as much as a man in the court's eyes. You better watch out. These women really think that they're gonna automatically win still to this day.
been silenced before, but I am gonna speak on these things because it is my right.
Until you get a gag order from the family court. Who's been silencing you? Oh, brother, every oversharing bimbo on the internet, and I am one of them, okay, truly has like this need to be like, I won't be silenced. I will speak my truth. And their truth is just like them being like, yeah, I've contracted herpes and chlamydia. Like, it's wild that people will spread online and apparently through the sheets that they're just gonna like talk online is like their truth. What I gotta speak. I will not be silenced. Like, girl, sometimes like people trying to tell you to chill out and not post all your shit online is not you being silenced, just people looking out for you and like trying to keep you from losing your kid. I don't know if like we're gonna get all that, you know? This is wild.
I'm talking about my experience as a full-time single mom and full-time provider. And I
Full-time single mom, and yet he still has his own custodial time. Full-time provider, and yet you receive child support. This is what I mean by like a narcissist, and I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say it at this point. I'm gonna armchair diagnose. I feel as though I've seen enough. Very narcissistic tendency led people. I'll at least say that. They love making everything sound like their idea. You see how instead of I have to earn all of the money because my husband is in prison turns into I'm the provider, I make the bread, I'm a strong independent woman. It's all her idea somehow.
I don't care what anybody says. I am damn proud of myself and the life that I've given my son, because at least he has a bedroom in my house and in my other house.
Pop off, mommy. Okay. We can't hold you down. So this is where we're left off in this saga. The last TikTok she's made, I believe. Let me double check because this was like 3 days ago. I'll see if there's been anything else. Okay. This is the last one. Okay. It reads, now I have to buy another house and move away to Houston. So hold up, all these houses you're talking about, none of them are even in Houston, where 100% of your stay-at-home work is. So now the clout has gone fully to her head. Like, she fully is chasing the adrenaline of like going viral and having all of this support and people being like, girl, just take full custody and leave this ain't shit man. You don't have to deal with that. And she's going for it. She is like fully riding off into the sunset. She is going to just straight up take the kid and move away. At least she thinks that that's what she's going to do. First of all, what is the stay-at-home work? Is it one of those? Is that what it is? Am I gonna look up the Instagram and it's gonna have one, the spicy link? Is that what I'm about to find out right now? I'm gonna peep the Instagram so that you guys don't have to. Okay, it actually says right there, commercial real estate finance and development. She is walking a fine fucking line, dude. The world is about to be ripped out from under her feet in the craziest way right now, because right now she is really thinking in her head, I've got it made. I do everything for this boy. There is no chance in hell that I would ever lose custody. I'm going to keep getting my child support bag. I am going to go move to Houston, take this boy away from his father. Maybe he can have summers, maybe he can have some holidays. I don't care. Like, I'm going off. I'm going to go collect more child support and it's going to be good. I'm going to own all these properties. I do not know what her ex does for work or like if he is making more money than her. I will tell you, the child support calculator basically goes like this. It takes what you earn, it takes what the other person earns, it takes who has how many overnights, and then it poops out a number. So I can only imagine what she's making. I can only guess. If she does move away and he's relegated to like the most minimal amount of time possible, then they would be inclined to increase the child support. However, typically to move completely outside of like a court jurisdiction, you do need to run it through the courts. So she is assuming that she's going to be able to just walk in court and be like, I want to move away. This is too much drama. He and his wife bring too much drama into our lives, and I think that it would be in Leo's best interest to come to Houston with us, and we'll change up the schedule, and I'll just take child support. She really thinks that that's just going to be accepted without a bat of an eye. What happens when he goes, well, I disagree. I believe that this will be incredibly harmful for Leo because he has an established school here, he has his family here, he has established patterns here, and in fact, we would argue that the instability in his home life is coming from the call within the house. We believe that it is his mother causing undue stress and trauma by introducing him to a current prison inmate acting as his stepdad. I believe that they don't have the proper resources to take care of a home, as she appears to be struggling. And she seems to be completely confident posting all of this online, which will absolutely come to probably haunt our child later. So if I may, Honor, I think it might be in Leo's best interest to come live with me and my family, where we'll be able to provide for him with this consistent schedule. And I think that she should pay us child support from her booming real estate business. Judge might be like, yeah, actually, that sounds better. She's really overestimating the situation right now. She's both overestimating it and underestimating it. Like, she is overestimating her case and underestimating how family court actually works and the things that they take into consideration. And I will warn you guys that, they might look at a situation where you have 3 different houses across the state. You claim that you work from home, but you also claim that you need to be certain places to travel. They might look at that as a little bit too unstable. They might look at the criminal situation going on with your husband and look at that as unstable. They might look at you bad-mouthing your identifiable ex online and really come down hard on that. Because let me look at what the exact tenets are that they consider in a custody case. What factors are considered in a custody case? Here in Michigan, there's 8 to 10 specific ones, but there would be age and health of the child. I think they're pretty equal on that ground as far as both of them are able to take care of the child. It's not like he's breastfeeding anymore. The child's preference, usually that's not taken into consideration until at least middle school. Emotional ties, so they would consider the fact that the child's whole family is wherever they're living now. I don't know what's in Houston. Again, I strongly am guessing it's where her prisoner husband is residing, but if there's no family in Houston, that's not going to sway the judge. Community and school ties. Again, this is going to work against her. He's got 5 years, half a decade living there. Siblings. She doesn't have any siblings for that son, but you know who does? Gladys. Gladys has now provided a sibling by being married to Leo's dad. I don't know if Leo gets along with his half-sister, but he's got a sibling there. That's going to play a role, right? Parental fitness. So they're going to take that into consideration. Things that are going to work against her: being married to a potential felon, at least someone who is currently locked up and in jail. For him, I don't know what she has against him. I'm sure if there was something, she would have mentioned it by now. The primary caregiver role, that is going to work in her favor. If she has historically held the custodial role, they will take that into consideration in her favor. Parental stability. This is where I think he's probably got more stability than her at this moment. Cooperation. The willingness and ability of each parent to cooperate with the other parent. Again, I think that this works more in favor for the dad than it does her. history of violence or abuse, I don't think that applies here. Substance abuse, I don't think that applies here. And lifestyle. So again, I really think the lifestyle thing is working against her. You know, you said San Antonio and Houston are only about 4 hours apart. That's significant distance. Like, I don't think that parents should have equal 50-50 custody if they live even like significantly over 45 minutes apart. I think at that point, maybe custodial, primary, and non-custodial might be better. But of course, this is where you have to take into consideration, why do they live so far apart? Did one parent flee 4 hours away for seemingly no good reason, right? Like, it seems like they've established their place here in San Antonio. 4 hours apart is significant. You're not making that drive every other week. You can't go to school that way. You can't share custody that way. That's not going to work. And she could lie if she wants to. Yes, Terror Darkness. That is true. If she wanted to lie, she could. Hopefully she chooses not to do that. You know what? I'm going to watch one more from her page. Because like I said, this video is like the most recent one. She has like some other ones, but I don't think it talks about the situation. I'm curious what this one was. The 50-50 I signed up for.
When I'm carrying your love.
She's mowing the lawn. There's Leo. This is funny. So she's showing like basic motherhood tasks that like we all have to do, and wanting to be praised as a hero for it under the same wave that usually gets women who are like, women do everything in marriage. Like, men really ain't shit. Women really do hold it down. Oh my God. Like, when men say 50-50, they don't really mean it. Like, first of all, that's your kid that you didn't even make with your husband. And second of all, your husband's in jail. So like, and I don't know. This was posted in 2022. She might have still been with her last husband at this point. But like, what a timeline. Like, I think there's something off with your picker, ma'am, to where like, if you're like, your ex-husband was allegedly so bad that a man who's literally in jail is an upgrade to you. But I don't know if that's the case, man. Yeah, that's wild. I do not know which husband she's talking about, but the show ain't 50-50 no more. I don't know what the deal is with this video. I do not. But that is the Mama Lana Texas girl. Went viral because of her crazy stepmom who just made the biggest scene at the hospital when she did nothing. She was so polite and innocent and generous. Don't forget, she gave her daughter a dress. She just did not deserve such mistreatment for her to not say hi to her. What do you guys think? Do you think that there is one villain who stands out more than the rest in this story? Do you think it's possible that the stepmom really is the true villain? We just don't know because she's not posting all about it on TikTok to our knowledge. Do you think that the dad has done something wrong that you can tell? Do you think that everybody besides Leo is kind of the a-hole here? I would love to hear your opinions on the Mama Lana stepmom, baby mama drama in the hospital. And if you haven't yet, please do make sure that you like the video down below. I know I told you audio only crew, you wouldn't have to stare at your screen, but if you could just glance at it for a moment to make sure you've liked the video, it really helps. Definitely does help push us out in the algorithm, grow as a group. And do remember, Patreon tiers are all 25% off for roughly the next month with code TRIPOD. If you want some early access, if you want to make the members only stream tomorrow, or join the Discord. It's fun stuff. All right, I think I'm gonna make it a kind of shorter stream today though, and end on that. We're gonna cover more with the Wednesday free stream. We're gonna cover more tomorrow in the members only stream. But my house has gotten so messy this past week, man. I don't know how it happens. Just living life. So listen, we're gonna open up in these last 10-15 minutes for some comments. You don't have to super chat. I'm just reading everything at this point. See what you guys have to say. I liked as soon as I came in. Thank you, Punslinger. You're a good one. You're a good egg. You should clean your house and then blast your partner for it online. You know what? You're right. I do need attention and validation. I should do that. Yeah, tomorrow there's a members only stream. I don't know how I phrased it, but I must have phrased it in a way that confused a lot of people, because you're not the only one who was like, wait, the members only stream is tomorrow? I'm like, and I had to like quadruple check the way I posted it and the way that I scheduled it. I'm like, yes, it's tomorrow at 11 a.m. What did I do wrong? I did nothing wrong. I'm a perfect angel, just like the woman that we just covered. Okay? No, this time I actually did not misschedule anything, though. I have in the past. Who's Malvolio? Should I Google this? Will I regret it? Yeah, you guys gotta submit content ideas to me. Oh, a fictional character. I have not read The 12th Night. 12th. Post it online as you rage clean. We will have fun with the members only stream. We will. Last night my sleep was amazing, actually. I will say this, I'm on my new anti-epilepsy meds and I have been sleeping like a freaking champion. Although there was one night that I forgot to take them and I slept horribly. Horribly. And I noticed. I was like, wow, I forgot to take my meds and I slept like ass. Yeah, I think these meds are working. I think they're helping my brain, which is the goal. The goal is to not power slap the floor with my face every day, and I think it's working. Will we get makeupless Lauren on members only stream? I was thinking about it. Do you still take emails? Yeah, emails are actually the best way to reach me. Lauren@dadvocate.net, the best way to get a hold of me. Yes. We've had one, but what about second shoe stream? I'd be down for that. There is more stuff to cover. No, it's hold on. It's a leucosamide, I want to say is what it's called. Is mine. Let me tell you, my option for anti-epilepsy meds was basically anything but Keppra, please. I don't know if you've ever heard of the anti-epilepsy med Keppra, but there is a side effect of Keppra that is called Keppra rage, where people have been reported to just have like extremely like atypical angry reactions to things, like where you might get annoyed when you come home and the sink is full of dishes. Like on Keppra rage, you might just start like smashing the dishes to the ground. So I was like, I don't need that. I feel like I already have enough anger in my life to where I do not need to deal with that. Congrats on your new ADHD meds and that they're working. I've heard so many people like it just turns their life around. TJ's really enjoying his. Can you access the members only live if you're a Patreon sub? Yep, it's open for Patreon members and YouTube members. You should actually have access to the link right now. If you don't, there's a problem. Yeah, if you're on YouTube, check the community tab. Patreon, it should just be there. A pair of shoe streams. That's hilarious. What do you call a cow with epilepsy? A milkshake? See, with mine, I don't shake. So those actually don't apply to me. That sounds like a terrible side effect. Yeah, no kidding. There's a lot of them that had like some crazy ones. Right now, the one that I'm on, the side effects are sleepiness. So like there are nights that I go to bed at like 8:30 p.m. So like, yeah, the sleepiness is there. Dizziness, there. I do get dizzy, but it's fine. And then the nausea is there. The nausea is definitely there, but honestly fine. I can deal with all that. Not too bad. Cheating Chelsea is anger enough. I know. Dude. She's a wild one, but she's so famous. She's famous, you guys. Yeah, there actually are a lot of anti-epilepsy meds for other stuff that people take besides for epilepsy. Some people take them for like depression. I went to an epilepsy support group. They were called the movers and shakers. Get it all out. Get it all out. Aw, thank you, Lacey. She needs those meds to have a seizure. People can die from seizures. Yeah. Oh, there goes my camera battery. I'll change it literally just to say goodbye to you guys. Literally just for like the last 5 minutes. I should change it. But yeah, your girl, she do need to eat and sleep. She does need to do that. Chelsea is integrated. That's true. That is so true. The non-narcotic ADHD meds do nothing for me, except one of them gives me migraines. Ah, dude, that sucks. I would feel so sad if I was like, I went through all that to get ADHD meds, because you have to jump through some hoops, and then they're like, don't even work. Does Adderall work, though? At least it works for you. Good, still it froze on, though. I know, you never know what face I'm going to be making when I push my batteries to their limits. All right, man. Yeah, that was I'm glad we covered that one today, because like I said, it's been going viral all over the place. And I would have just like, if I only saw it on that one platform, I would have been like, you know what? I thought about covering it just to be like, yeah, stepmoms, like, we can be the problem too. Like, stay in your lane, show respect to both parents, which, like, I did have that take. But the more I kept watching it, the more I was like, but this lady is not innocent either. Like, it's not always one of those cases where, like, the baby mama is always the problem. The stepmom is always the problem. Like, I would say probably in most cases, like, they're both contributing. When there is like a heavy negative relationship between the two women, I feel like it's not usually completely one-sided, but it can be. It definitely can be. It's tough to, like, when you're getting pushed by one person, to completely maintain your composure and not bite back, you know? I've definitely broken down and returned the petty cattiness in the past, and I've admitted it. I've also apologized for my behavior when I have, you know? I have in the past. For those of you who have a Patreon or YouTube membership, you have access to the Dadvocate origin story live. You can hear some of the stories about that. What's an epileptic's favorite appetizer? A seizure salad? Well, you know our favorite pizza, right? Little seizures. Oh yeah, there are people who get addicted to ADHD meds. I remember that was actually like one of the first warning signs for Amanda Bynes was she got pulled over, and apparently she had like taken way too many of her ADHD meds. And I remember this was one of the first times I heard a quote from somebody that like completely changed my life. But I remember I was at work and I was reading about this Amanda Bynes situation, and I was like, what? Why would you even need to take that many ADHD meds? Like, most people just need to take like one 10 milligram pill and they are like good for the whole entire day. Like, why would you need to take that many? I feel like that would just be stressful. And my coworker just goes, yeah, Lauren, because everyone thinks the same way as you. And I was just like, damn, okay, like, okay, I deserved that, you know? Like, I think about that all the time. And like, whenever I'm in one of those situations where I'm like, that's so strange that they would do that. I would never do that. There's that voice in the back of my head. Yeah, Lauren, because everyone does things the same way as you. I'm like, okay, yeah, valid. But yeah, I actually went to school with someone who got a really bad Adderall addiction, and he like, talk about Kepra rage similarly. He would get like incredibly violent on it. I mean, it's people call it like legal meth, which it's not. Like, I would not be that reductive about ADHD meds that do a lot of good for society. But I mean, you take too much of, you know, any upper like that, you're gonna go loco. It would not be that good. Some ADHD meds are basically speed. I was addicted to clonazepam. Is that similar to Klonopin by any chance? Because I knew someone with a Klonopin addiction. Dude drove his car into someone's garage. And that was not even like the worst of his transgressions. Dude, this guy was starting to like go down such a bad path with his addiction that this was like when I was really young, but I was like living with all my roommates and I had such a bad feeling about this dude. We'll call him, I don't want to say, I was going to call him Kevin, but there's probably a few Kevins out there. Is there like a weirder name that I can use? We'll just stick with Kevin right now. I'm overcomplicating. So I was starting to get sleepy and we were having a party at our house. So I told my roommates, like, hey, I need you guys to make sure that under no circumstances does Kevin try to come into my room. Like, I cannot have Kevin coming into my room because I have a feeling like he's been really weird lately. Like, I have a strong feeling that it could happen and I'm not going to be chill about it. So sure enough, like later in the evening, drunk ass Kevin does indeed come wandering in my room. And I went psycho. I pulled out my baseball bat and I chased that motherfucker right out the house. I was like, get the fuck out my room and fuck all you guys for letting Kevin get the fuck in my room. The party is fucking over. And I went nuts. And I was like chasing him down the street. And I was like, don't you fucking get in your car either because you're drunk off your ass. You go find a bench to sleep on. I went nuts. But hey, you know, I probably saved myself from getting molested that night. So I regret nothing. That dude, look, he had been like grabbing up on my ass. Okay, this wasn't coming out of nowhere. Like I had my reasons to believe that he was gonna fuck around and find out, and that's what happened. That is what happened. You get a little bit more dad lore before we close out this stream for the evening. Don't get addicted to drugs, kids. That's a great way, I think, to end this stream is don't get addicted to drugs. It's not a good time, okay? All right. On that note, I think we're going to close up for today. Same time tomorrow for members only. Same time here Wednesday, no matter who you are. We're going to be covering some fun stuff this week. I am eager. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Maybe I'll release some shorts for you. Probably going to have to film them first. So keep tagging me and stuff on TikTok. Keep sending me stuff on Instagram. All the content to react to. I love it. Just keep sending me stuff. You know what to do.